Melissa Constanzer joins me now from State College, Pennsylvania. She's a senior TV broadcasting meteorologist at AccuWeather. Thanks very much for your time there, Melissa. Now, Fiona has been described as a possible historic extreme event for Canada. What is it about this system that makes it so threatening?
Well, part of it is that it was a significant hurricane, right? It became a major hurricane, which is a very strong hurricane throughout the Atlantic basin. And as it worked northward, it found a cold front and actually got absorbed into that cold front. So now we get a little bit more energy into the storm system. And you can actually kind of still see some traits of that front extending from the cloud cover that is Fiona, which is actually over Canada as we speak. So this has already created, as mentioned, numerous power outages, and that's going to be the biggest impact from this storm. Really, a lot of the winds. There's also heavy rainfall, which has made a difference. This storm, though, does trek into the Arctic Circle by Monday, where it loses a lot of the moisture, the rainfall associated with it, so it will become less of an entity. But you can actually see it collects enough cold air with that cold front to try to create some snow through parts of northern Canada. The real story, though, has been much farther south, where the coast is more populated. That part of Canada, where more people live, they've experienced more damage there. And so that we have had a lot of heavy rainfall, more than 4 inches in several locations, which this part of Canada not as used to the rainfall. However, they are a little bit more used to the winds. They see winter storms that can bring very strong winds throughout the late season to this portion of Atlantic Canada. However, we don't typically get it during the warm season, so that's the difference with this storm. Wind gusts of more than 80 miles per hour have already been recorded, several actually, of 100+ miles per hour, and widespread power outages, as you said, through places like Nova Scotia and Newfoundland. So that's really been a lot of the impacts here with this storm through time, and that's just Fiona. There are still a couple other entities through the Atlantic basin as far as tropical systems, but Ian is one that will be talked about for the Caribbean and the United States of America as we go through time into next week. It is likely to make landfall as a hurricane in the state of Florida.
Yeah, that's right. And what about Hurricane Ian? The forecasts are fairly mixed on this as to whether Ian will charge at the Florida Peninsula or traipse north towards the Panhandle. What's your best analysis?
There has been a bit of a divide on that, and we have stuck with more of the westerly track with that. So basically, the storm is going to work its way up towards western Cuba. That much we know. But then as we go through time, it could either take a quick sharp turn towards more of, say, Florida and the Tampa area, the west coast, or go towards more northern Florida, a little bit farther west. And it all depends on how quickly it collects a cold air mass through the eastern U.S. and tries to tag onto it. In fact, kind of part of that same frontal boundary here that stalled out over Florida from Fiona's cold front, the same one that Fiona got caught up in. So as it tries to collect that, it's going to get pulled east. It's just a matter of how quickly. And right now we've been hedging the models a little farther west, but we do know it's most likely to make landfall as a hurricane in Florida and possibly even a major hurricane, so a pretty powerful storm.
All right, Melissa, thanks very much for